Most of the world around us is very real, but you just never lived there, okay? You lived in your mind. It's almost all completely made up in your brain based on assumptions and models of how the world works and just a tiny bit of high quality visual information.
So it's called Leave the World Behind.
After talking about this movie all day yesterday, last night I was in this hotel room and I woke up in the middle of the night and I didn't know which door led to where, and I got a little disoriented and a little jet lagged, and I just thought, what if the building collapses?
Oh no!
Now, and this isn't me, right? I'm an easy person. I'm easygoing. I'm happy, and I was like, what if the building collapsed?
I saw this with my husband yesterday, and we loved it. It's a thriller, but it has all these subliminal messages, and you leave it up to the viewer as to what you're perceiving.
Oseo everyone. Today I'm going to do something a bit different. I'm going to do a movie review about a movie that's been making its rounds on the internet. The name of the movie is Leave the World Behind. And there have been quite a few hidden messages and hidden symbols within this movie. As a matter of fact, my husband Taneisha Calloway just recently did a live stream about many of these hidden symbols that people may not have been aware of. And if you haven't checked out the live stream, go ahead and check that out. But within this video, I'm going to come from a totally different aspect than what many people have pointed out so far. So I'm going to go ahead and get right into it. And I'm going to start by saying that life's a beach. So the movie starts with a couple in their bedroom. It's the point of their comfort. This relates to a relaxed state. They were bringing people into a point of comfort as soon as the movie began. And so right from this point of comfort, a couple, a husband and a wife, has decided that they will go on a vacation. So this was actually being done at the beginning to build a relationship where the viewer and the actors on the screen, the characters on the screen, start to build some type of internal agreement. But what is important to note is that the wife is packing before the husband can even get out of bed. And in this instance, I knew immediately that the husband and the wife are the representation and the makeup of an individual. You have the masculine energy, which is the physical, and the feminine energy, which is the spiritual. And this is the first instance symbolically that I noticed of a physical and spiritual disassociation. This association may feel like daydreaming at a boring work meeting or zoning out when driving down a long highway, but it can also be your mind's coping mechanism when confronted with too much stress, such as a traumatic event. When your body encounters a frightening or tense situation, it enters a fight, flight, which we see multiple planes flying within this movie, or a freeze response. So if you haven't guessed it already, they are attempting to hypnotize your inner child within this movie, who they openly state is always psyched. And to be psyched means both thrilled or frightened. So all of this is relating and going back to what I just stated about disassociation. The creators of this movie wanted something to take place, and it is for a particular reason. And to explain this further, let me show you guys something. Right before they go into the beach, it's a sign right here that says Charleston Harbor. Now, many people are going to see this sign and they're going to think of Charleston, South Carolina, or where it's in relation to slaves being offered at an auction block. But what people are unaware of is the true meaning of Charleston. If you break that down by the sounding of the word, you can actually get the real words and the real meanings behind it. Charleston, Churlishton, or CH making the K sound, you have Carliston, or careless tongue. Now let's take that ton off, because ton means something in a great amount. So we have charless, careless, and churlish. All of these are in relation and basically the same word. It's just people didn't realize what it was or what it was meant to be because it's being stated all together. And I'm going to prove this by the definition and showing this right here. And so charless So who are they talking about?
Sunblock.
And why does she say they have the beach all to themselves? And the answer to that lies in the definition of the word beach, which is the ability to run or haul something, to bring it ashore. They're going after that bag. And the only reason why they're able to do such a thing is because of the outside pollution that has broken down the natural barriers. And they show this to you on the screen in two different scenarios. What goes over many people's heads is that this is a pollution that broke down the barriers within an individual, within their mindset and their body. Now, you have the ship with the name White Lion that comes ashore. And this part gets a bit deep, as everyone believes that the White Lion refers to a slave ship that brought the first enslaved Africans or Negroes into Jamestown in 1619. But what is really being stated here is that the White Lion is what brought the first enslaved, the firstborn, into slavery. As Jamestown refers to the town, tongue, tone, or toe in of one who follows. And so now knowing this gives more reference to the White Lion ship coming on shore within this movie, because it has a total different meaning altogether. And ultimately, this meaning deals with hypnotization. They want your eyes to be hip, bringing awareness. In the world of hypnotization, a hypnotist is only good at what they do if they can take something foreign in an unfamiliar environment and make it more familiar. If they can take something that seems out of place and put it somewhere it doesn't belong. So I want you to look at it as an actual lion on the beach. Realistically, that's not possible. You're not able to see a lion that's from the jungle on the beach unless somebody brings it there. And not only would it be rare to see a lion on the beach, but a white lion at that. And so the symbolism behind this is very important, because a lion represents courage and things of that nature. But a white lion represents fear. It's the same as when you make someone so afraid that they start to lose all of their coloring. They turn white, because they are frozen in fear. So the white lion is actually the cowardly lion, like in The Wizard of Oz. And if you can recall earlier, when I gave the definition of disassociation and what causes it, I stated disassociation is a form of the freeze response. Notice how when the ship was getting closer, at first everyone froze because they didn't know what to do next. And then they took action. They went into the flight response. Listen, because this also sheds light onto the different meanings of what is intended by the word beach. It is a nod to beck, as in to beckon something. Spelling beach using the CH as a k sound, you have beck, and you also have beak. And that is why you have the word white lion at the bow of the ship, as it has been beckoned to come upon the shore. At this point, it is no longer captained by its original captain. And this was the entire goal from the get-go, to bring the cowardly white lion onto the beach, using the beak onto the back. And mind you, this is the command for only a particular group of people, as the only people who were enduring tragedy within this movie were poor whites and blacks, no matter how wealthy they were. Now, I want to take it straight from there to the symbolism of 1619, because that's how you get to Jamestown, and especially when you want to disassociate someone from their original ship. How do you do that? By changing the frequency. So when we look at the image of 1619, I want you to know that it's not 1619. It's actually stating 16 and 19, which is the frequency of 69 hertz. And the frequency of 69 hertz is allegedly the lowest and least known sound to have been studied. 69 hertz acts as a resonant deepener. Well, how do they know this? The 69 hertz, a resonant deep in her, or a resonant deepener. The word resonant is defined as a sonnet, which is a sound similar to a sonar or tone of speech. To resonant, you must first resonate, which is to meet someone's agreement, to change the sound that was originally there and to make it fit with something else. A resonant deep in her, or a resonant deepener. Sort of like when someone has a surgery. If there is a particular implantation and the body feels that it's something foreign, there will be complications and a rejection will occur to the thing that's trying to be implanted. So in order to make something less foreign and to bring it into alignment, a particular thought must be lodged as a deeper standing within someone's mind. And in order to do this, a sound must be attached. That's why they have these strange sounds that are playing within the movie repeatedly. It's a deepener. Other instances where a deepener was used was when the Caucasian mom and the needy daughter were finally able to relate when they were in the shed. Well, that's a deepener. When it comes to our children, a bond is created whenever they need you. Or the situation when the needy dad and the Caucasian mom relate over music. That's a deepener. Anything that creates a depender creates a deepener. And what's important to note is that a deepener can only take an effect after there's been some sort of displacement. Going back to the article about disassociation, once again, it brings up an example under what causes this association of disassociation. And it says, grief can bring a sense of disassociation. When you hear someone has died because you're in a state of shock, your body might freeze and be unable to react to the news. That is why they show the portion in the movie where they said that the mother died. And they didn't really show that, but the Niji daughter believed that. And the Niji dad said that he believed that as well, through the use of feeling and using their imagination, of course. And just because your body is frozen in fear, that doesn't mean that your spirit is frozen, because it is at this exact point that both your mind and your spirit can easily be moved. And so spiritually, this is the portion which is dealing with your inner child or your subconscious. And this also explains why the Caucasian daughter ran off in the end to the bunker to harbor in her new safe place, which was back to the comforts of junk food and television. But where did the Niji daughter run off to right after being frozen in fear? Exactly where they wanted her from the start. Once the displacement properly occurs, that is when the new alpha plantation can easily be inserted. Henceforth, the name of the movie, which is Leave the World Behind. Because when you decide to insert a new alpha into your life, spiritually, you are using a new tongue, a new way of speaking your own language, and allowing them to give you direction by taking over the alphabet. In doing this, you physically give up your own house, deciding to sleep in the basement with the new alpha at the top. And the only thing they are hoping is that you would say the first letter of the alphabet, which is historically A, Aleph, or I left, I left, I left. I'm just here to make you think.